You'll get plenty of opportunity.
This is the talk show that takes a no-holds-barred approach to politics, where truth and integrity are the standard and the Constitution honored. From Renaissance Studios, this is Champion News Talk Radio.
Good morning and welcome to another great edition of Champion News Talk Radio. We are brought to you by championnews.net, and this is your choice for the conservative voice. This is Ann Parisi. Today our founder Jack Roser and myself have a great guest with us, Mr. Jerry Kohn. And Jerry is a teacher, and Jack is very excited about having Jerry here.
Oh yeah, Jerry's a teacher, and he's done something that's remarkable. And we should hear his story. But let me set the stage a little bit so you realize the courage and intelligence that sits over there. And let me take you back to 1993 when Forbes magazine wrote an article about the NEA, which is the National Education Association. Forbes' article was really quite deep. We had graphs in there about the trends in what the students were learning and in the amount of unionization that was settling into the teaching system and the costs of everything. The costs were blooming and the unionization was blooming and the achievement of the students was going down.
That's
in these graphs. Those graphs today, and incidentally, I was so impressed with the Forbes article because he called the NEA the National Extortion Association, and it's fully justified in being called that. Forbes did it. I bought 1,000 copies of that article. I still have 3, and they are pertinent to what's going on right now, only more so. The perfidy of the NEA has gone to it. It has ruined the education system of the United States. If you compare the achievement levels of the students in America, and they are compared with about 30 different industrial nations, and typically a town like I live in, Barrington's a wealthy town. It has reputedly the best schools in the state, and they should be because we certainly are paying high taxes to have them there. Barrington will test in at about the 58% level as compared with South Korea, Australia, England, all of the industrial countries. They're about the mid-level. Other schools, we won't even talk about Chicago because that's pathetic. Mm-hmm. But the average of the less privileged and expensive schools in this country would be below the 50% level internationally. So the schools of America are cheating the parents and
cheating the kids.
And the quality of the education is below international standards. So there's no excuse for being the highest cost education system in the world. So we start with the union that has caused all of this to happen. Just talking about unions in general, if it weren't for the National Right to Work Association, which has a lot to do also with the education, if it weren't for them that they have got 24 states where the unions don't have an automatic right to just dominate the scene. If it weren't for the National Right to Work organization, there wouldn't be any automobiles made in the United States because we just plain wouldn't be competitive. Because by far the majority of cars here are made in the 24 states that have adopted the National Right to Work law that says the employee cannot be compelled to join a union.
That's a good thing.
And it's his choice to join or not. So natural economic forces allow automobile companies to compete internationally so that we actually do build far less than we would otherwise because of the tragedy that has happened to the automobile industry under union control. But where those union controls were removed, which is what happens with national right to work, it makes it a voluntary proposition to join a union or not.
But teachers have to pay their union dues, right?
And yes, they do.
Okay.
And unless a national right to work law has been adopted in their state, and you've seen things happening like up in Wisconsin and Ohio, recently 4 more states,
Michigan.
yes, Indiana, and where that has been happening, the teachers are becoming true professionals. Those riding goons in the street, those aren't the people you want teaching your children. A teacher is a dignified profession with a very high calling.
Yes.
And a very important thing.
Yes.
My God, we need the best. And the way it's organized, the good efforts of the teachers are, in many cases, thwarted because of a bunch of crazy administration. But getting to the present thing, we have a good teacher here, a courageous one, who went through a process that he can tell you about, where he established his own personal right to pay or not pay dues.
Now, Jerry, you're a teacher.
Right.
And are you a union teacher?
No, I'm not a member of the union.
How could that be possible in Illinois with the Illinois Education Association?
Well,
you work for public school.
And I do work in a public school.
What do you teach, Jerry?
I teach economics, history, and government.
Sounds like
Social studies.
At the high school level?
At the high school level, yes, high school seniors.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, when I first started work in my district in 1991, and like almost every teacher, they put all the paperwork in front of you, including a union membership, form to sign up, and not really having thought about it very much or having no strong feelings about it at that time. I just kind of filled out the paperwork and joined the union.
Figured that was something you were supposed to do, part of the
supposed
protocol.
to do. And I think the vast majority of teachers, when they first accept employment, particularly just coming out of college, they just do that. It's be part of the team and all that. I found out shortly, about a year or so after that, or probably about the middle of that year, that the National Education Association was giving money to Planned Parenthood and actively supporting abortion, which really offended my beliefs.
What does that have to do with educating children?
Nothing at all.
There's a whole bunch of stuff they do there.
Yeah, so I was pretty outraged about that. I said, it has nothing to do with education. It's offensive to my beliefs, and I resigned. I looked into it. I quit.
You resigned as a teacher?
I resigned not as a teacher. I resigned the union. I quit the union. And I was allowed to do that at that time because our district was not an agency shop. It was an open shop. In other words, we had a union, but teachers did not have to join it.
This was what year?
This was 1991.
So this was 20 some years ago.
Yeah,
so it's different now.
Back when I just started.
Things have toughened up a lot
Okay,
since then.
so a teacher coming in today, do they have that same opportunity?
They don't have that right anymore.
Okay, so that right has been taken away
from us.
by the union?
Well, it was an agreement that the union reached with the school board, I believe, in 1995. So I went through several years where I was a non-member, not paying dues, and working and doing my job.
Still allowed to get tenure if you're a non-member?
Still allowed to get tenure.
Okay.
So under the open shop, basically, I was treated just like everyone else. And I still remember very vividly sitting at my desk, and I think it was 1995, right after the new contract took effect that year. The head of the union in our building rep, comes to my door and informs me, asks me really, well, Jerry, now that you have to, are you going to join the union? Like I said, I hadn't been following things very closely. I didn't even look at the contract. And I was like, what do you mean? And I said, well, you have to now. And, like I said, and she explained to me that the new contract requires all teachers to pay dues to the union. And so her opinion was, well, since you have to pay dues anyway, why don't you just join? And yeah, like I said, I was just flabbergasted. I sitting there like turning red and the smoke coming out of my ears. Like, what is this? And I looked into it and I found out.
Doesn't sound American.
It just struck me.
Doesn't sound like any type of liberty to make a choice.
Yeah, it struck me as absurd, and I looked into it and I found she was right. I'm stuck. And I actually contemplated just quitting the district and leaving.
Is each district, I don't mean to interrupt you, but does each district and each school board decide these protocols?
It's a collective bargaining issue, whether you're going to be an open shop or an agency shop.
Are there any open shop schools in Illinois?
I'm not aware of any specific ones. I think there probably are.
Okay.
And
There are
we
private ones.
we nearly became one this year. I have finally had four of the 7 board members that were in favor of getting rid of the agency shop.
Oh, wow.
The
We need to talk about that. But
We'll
so
talk about
anyway,
that, yeah,
so you were told you had to join the union.
I was told I had to pay dues to the union.
You had no choice.
I had no choice in the matter.
You had no choice.
That's what I was told.
Okay.
And I was about to resign, and one of my colleagues, said, "Wait a minute, Jerry, calm down a little bit. Call this guy." And it was a lawyer at the National Right to Work Legal Defense Foundation. I didn't even know this organization existed. So I called him up, and I can't say enough good things about the National Right to Work Legal Defense Foundation. I explained my situation to the lawyer there. He said, "We can help you." And I had to fill out a very simple 1-page form, file it with the Illinois Educational Labor Relations Board, and I was able to get the process started of getting a refund.